Hello, everyone. It's Melanie Warner here. Thank you for being here today at Defining Moments Television. I am so excited to introduce our first guest today. And as you know, this is a show where, ooh, we just went in close. Are you ready for your close up? Um, this is a show where we love to talk about books. Not only am I the biggest book nerd on the planet, but I really believe that books change lives. And I know that books have changed my life. And I'd love to see those of you watching in the chat if you post a book that changed your life. And I'm willing to bet that that book was a nonfiction book. It could have been self-help. For me, it was Dale Carnegie. When I was 15 years old, I got grounded, and my dad was a judge and an attorney and used to teach Dale Carnegie classes when I was born. So my punishment was I had to read Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People. And being the smart aleck teenager that I was, I'm like, I got friends. I don't need to read this book. But it actually really grounded me into the idea that your thoughts can change your outcome. Your thoughts can change your circumstances in life. It can change your attitude, your results, your energy, everything. So if you can change your thoughts, you can change your life. And that was such a profound lesson to learn at 15 years old. And I never dreamed I would be, growing up and being a book publisher and bringing these types of books into the world. I love to call them our book babies. I feel like I'm, the doctor in the delivery room helping to give birth to these beautiful little book babies everywhere all over the world. But I don't necessarily have to be changing diapers at 2 a.m. So, so that's what I want to talk about a little bit today. I'd love for you guys to put some notes in the chat. If you have questions for our authors about their process, about their motivations, about their fears, their doubts, what it took to get this concept finally out of their head, right? Because I want you to think about this statistic. 80% of people in our country say they want to write a book, but only 1% actually do. And we're here to change that gap because we work with the 1%. And we know that 100% of the people that we've worked with have ended up writing their books, releasing their books, and becoming a best-selling author. So it's really exciting. So we're going to put some information up in the chat as well throughout this fun time today that we have with our local, different authors from all over the planet, actually. So the first person I want to bring in as a guest today is Anissa Wesley. Anissa, welcome to the show. Thanks for being here.
Hello, thank you for having me. I'm super excited. Can't even talk right.
Oh, I know the feeling. I go through that every day. So tell us a little bit about yourself and where you're from. What part of the world are you in?
So I'm in Los Angeles, California, and I grew up in South Central LA my whole life. And, I pretty much grew up and wanted to further my education. So I did that, and I went to University of Southern California to gain my master's in social work. So I'm a licensed clinical social worker, also a wife, so and now an author. So that's
That's exciting, and soon a best-selling author. I know your book has already hit #1 on the new release in the charts in Amazon, which is exciting to watch it going up the charts. And that's just kind of been our pre-launch. This is our official launch today.
Mhm.
So, and it's funny. And I went to UCLA, so don't hold that against me.
Uh-oh.
Don't do it. Don't do it. We had a big school rivalry, even though I didn't know you. Hey, Shanika, thanks for being here with us today. She says, congratulations, Anissa.
Hi,
So,
Shanika. Thank you.
one of the themes of our show is to talk about a defining moment because, we've all had them, right? And it can either make you better, it can make you bitter. And it's the people that have been able to take this darkness, this tragedy, this trauma, these really hard, difficult things in their lives and turn that mess into a message or a mission or something that helps somebody else get through it. That's why I love sharing those because it also gives permission to those people who are watching to not live their lives with this shame or fear about things that happen in their life that they couldn't control, right? And we love sharing tools of how to overcome certain things. And I know that your book has so many amazing things in it that can really help a lot of people. So we'll get to that in a second. But first, would you share with us a defining moment in your life, Anissa?
Oh my gosh. So I've been thinking about this question, and I think I have many defining moments, as I've kind of developed. However, the most recent one that I can think of is when um, the pandemic happened and I was planning my wedding.
Oh,
So right. So I talk a lot about that in the book actually, and I explain how fearful I was, how devastated I was that my wedding that I had been waiting forever to have, all of a sudden now there's a pandemic and I had to make a lot of changes and I had a lot of fear. And I think that right after that, I don't share this in the book, but I'll share this now. Like right after that, my husband, he actually became legally blind. So not only are we dealing with a global pandemic, but now I'm a wife to a legally blind husband.
oh my
So
goodness, I didn't know that.
yeah. So if you can imagine all the fear, all the things that are happening in that, and through all of that, I believe that God is the one that helped me and strengthened my faith and helped me to not necessarily not be afraid, right? Because fear is it's a normal emotion, especially when we're going through some of those things. But he helped me not to allow the fear to stop me from moving forward in life. And so I think that those were really recent defining moments of either you're going to be stuck here in fear or you're going to choose faith and you're going to press through and still have a life that you love, and that God has called you to.
Absolutely. And I love your attitude about it and how you embraced this challenge and it made you better, right? That was certainly a defining moment in your life. And I'm glad that you were able to work through the pandemic to get married and be a wife. And in spite of all of these things that you're juggling, you still also finished your book, right? You had legitimate excuses of why you could not do it. A lot of people think, I don't have the time. Who am I to write a book? I'm not even a great writer. I was a C English student, so was I, you know what I mean? And the idea is people talk themselves out of so many things in life. And like you said, fear will rob you of so much more than any other person can ever take from your life. And that's something that we definitely have a choice over. So how did that kind of lead you into where you are today? And tell us a little bit about your book, who it's for, how it helps people, and all that good stuff.
So with all of that, I really started to focus on what I wanted, and really I'm a believer, I'm a Christian, so what God wanted for my life and how to press forward into that, even with all the things that were going on. Because I feel like, I mean, it doesn't excuse us, right, from from doing the things that we're called to do. And so I just started to listen carefully. I started to write out the things that I wanted to do. And for years, I had wanted to write a book, right? And so my book is called Please Excuse My Brave, Overcoming Fear and Living Out Your Purpose. And it's really for people who are feeling stuck, people who have unknowns in their lives, who maybe believe in God but are having an issue with trusting Him in this particular season, and who want to really, they know that there's more in life. They know that this is where they are and it's okay, but they know that they want more. And they know that maybe fear has robbed them, like you said, Melanie. So it's for that person. Particularly, I work with women, right? So, but I think that anyone who reads the book can benefit from it. I've even heard men who've read it who are like, wow, this is for me. This is good too. So don't be deterred if you are a male to read the book. But yeah, I think that's really where I'm at. And I felt in January that I was supposed to write this particular book. And, you know, then I found, well, someone told me about Melanie. So it was kind of like a boom, bam, like I wasn't even thinking of doing it. I didn't know how I was going to do it, but it's like everything just kind of started to fall into place. And so, yeah, so I mean, that's what I can say about that right now.
Well, and I know when you make the commitment, I mean, there's a lot of people who say they're interested in something. There's a lot of people who say, I would love to have a Ferrari, but when it comes to writing the check, they change their mind real quickly. So it's the same thing. I think that process of writing a book can be overwhelming to people because they don't know what to do. They don't know what to say. They don't know how to structure it. They don't know what to put in where and how many chapters and all that. And so, it's really easy to get lost in that. I call it the rodeo in your head. And people are, and people just kind of get stuck in that space. So what we do is try to help people get clarity about who they're writing a book for, how it's going to help somebody, and then we help them understand how to monetize it as well so that they can actually sell books. And the trick is you want to write the book that people want to read, not just the book you want to write. And I think that's the biggest mistake that I see a lot of authors make is they just go in and start writing a book and they take their personal diaries and try to turn it into a book. And nobody wants to read anybody's private journals. I mean, even if they're interesting, it's about them. And in today's society with social media and everything else, you really have to make your content and your story about your reader. They're the hero in that journey, reading your book. And so structure, the outline, all of that is really critical. And it's something that's very simple to do, but most people don't know how. So I love hearing that because you had so much going on in your life, but you worked through it and you got all of this stuff out that was floating around in your head, your knowledge, your experience, the tools that you learned to pull yourself through those times of uncertainty. And now you're teaching other people how to do that. Like, I just love it. So, and the links here in the chat, people can get the book there. I'm going to put the link in there as well. When you look at the main page of where this is viewing, because it's going on all of our social media channels, then you'll be able to see the links as well. But I'm going to put them in the chat just as a backup here for those of you who need it. So tell us what's happened now. Like you just finished your book. Today is your launch day. And by the way, it's on a special rate today for only 99 cents. So if you want to buy copies for other people and you live in the US, Amazon will let you buy multiple copies. So if you know somebody who is struggling with these issues that needs hope and it needs some support, maybe they just need someone to kind of walk them through some of this process of overcoming fear and like not letting fear rob them of who they're meant to be, right? Then Anise is a great person to connect with. You can buy a couple of different copies. You can buy a copy for yourself. You just go into the Amazon sales page and you click on buy for others and you can choose your quantity. And Amazon will actually send you a link with emails that you can actually send those redemption links to other people, right? So how about that? You can give other people redemption. Who knew you could do that? So tell us a little bit more about what has been, now that your book is out, right? What does it feel like I mean, you're getting a lot of great reviews and feedback from people. What does that feel like to have your book out in the world and have people like critiquing it and leaving reviews? Is that nerve-wracking? How's that been for you?
Yes and yes. it, it's surreal to have my book and my work out there, putting myself out there for people to um, critique or to judge, or the vulnerability that it took to write some of those stories, right? So, but I definitely felt that the stories were needed, and the reviews that I've been getting so far have been like, it just kind of confirms like this is what I was supposed to write. This is what someone needed. I keep hearing that people, it's like, oh my gosh, how did you know? Like how did you know this? Oh, you are me, pretty much. And so I think that helps me to, even though I'm still kind of like, oh my gosh, this is out there and it's a possibility that someone can be really negative. I think that holding on to the people that it's actually helping is, that's amazing for me. This is why I did it. Even if it helps one person, that's why I did it. So but yeah, it feels, I don't even know yet. Like I don't even know how I feel. Like I feel excited, I feel accomplished. I feel so grateful. Um I'm not gonna cry, but I do, like I just feel this is good, and it's something good that I put out there into the world. Um,
Well, I
so
am proud of you, and honey, you can cry if you want to. It's your party. Because you know what? This is about you today. Like, this is your hard work, your blood, sweat, and literally your tears that have gone into this experience. You are worthy of this. You have earned the right to be here. And your experience in overcoming these things has created your expertise. And you now have this ability, this beautiful soul to help other people. And this book just gives you the platform to be able to do that, to connect with the people out there that need what you have. And you know, this is a message for all of us out there, and all of you watching, is you have value, right? And you deserve to get paid for your knowledge and for your value. And there are other people that want to know how to do what you've already done. And so if you think about it this way, by not sharing your knowledge, by not sharing your book, or even by retiring and not sharing what you've learned over your career with other people or mentoring other people, it's almost selfish, because there are people out there suffering that are praying and begging to find an answer. And we as human beings, I believe we have a human responsibility, more even a spiritual responsibility, to help other people if we have solutions, right? If somebody's dying of thirst, you can give them water. And we all have that ability, because we all have special skills and talents and purpose that we're here to give. So, you know, a book is just one way to share your knowledge with the world, build your authority, you know, whether you own a business or whether you just want to write a book as a bucket list thing. There's so many different strategies and ways to do it. But the beauty is there's always somebody out there that needs something that only you can give them. So thank you for your courage for doing this. Is there anything else that you want to share with our viewers today, and also any special offers? I know today's launch day. If you guys are watching this back, you may not be seeing it live. The book could be at a different price, but I would encourage you to get it today while it's only 99 cents. And please leave an honest review. Those reviews really help serve the author. It's like, you know, it's like you feel like you're hounding people. Don't forget to leave a review, but it really is important. People want to know your honest opinion of the book. Good, bad, or ugly, please leave a review. I know that that really helps our authors. It gives them feedback, and it also gives them encouragement, you know, to keep going. Because there's sometimes you get bad reviews from people, and it's not always going to click with everybody. And that's a learning place to be able to overcome that and get over that fear of rejection that we all have from childhood, that we've all picked up somewhere, right? So get a copy of the book today, and please leave an honest review for Anissa and help her with that. I appreciate you guys supporting her. Anissa, tell us, is there anything that you want to offer today as a special deal for our viewers?
So if you go to my website, you can get it's Anissa Wesley, just my first and last name.com. We can do a 15-minute free consultation. And, you know, if you buy it today, you can also, if you send me evidence that you bought on any of my social platforms today within this hour, then you can be entered into a raffle to receive a free autographed print book, as well as a gift basket. So that's what I'm offering today for that special price. So I hope that I hear from y'all soon.
Thank you so much. And if you guys have questions for Anissa or for any of our authors, you can put them in the chat. We can see a couple of you here coming in from different platforms. We see Facebook and YouTube. I see Casey. And let's see who else is on here. Shanika, thank you guys for being here. Amber, welcome. Thank you guys for being here live with us. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button below if you like our show, because we do this all the time. We have new authors literally launching every single week, several a month. And at the same time, we have a weekly TV show that we do every Thursday live at 5 p.m. Pacific. And we have different guests from all over the world. And we'd love to talk about books and tools, things that can help people really have transformation. So hit the subscribe button below if you're watching us on YouTube, even if it's not live, and we'll be able to notify you, and hit the bell, and we'll be able to notify you when we're live. So thank you so much, Anissa. I really appreciate you. You can also go to our website, which is mydefiningmoments.com, and our author books are there as well. But otherwise, you can click on the links below to buy their books for that special price as well. And we want to thank you for being here, and best of luck and so much success with your book. I'm so, so proud of you and cannot wait to see where this takes you. I know it's just going to like be a shooting star for you. You're a rock star. You've done an amazing job. And I can't wait for people to connect with you and read your book. So thank you for being here and congratulations.
Thank you so much, Melanie.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. So I'm going to bring in our next guest here, who is one of our mentors in our program. She's had success with her first book and just wrote a second book and even a couple of other books since then, journals and all of that. So I want to introduce Leah Mantani. Leah, welcome to the show. Thank you for being here.
Thanks so much for having me, Melanie. I'm so excited.
Oh my gosh, me too. So we have been through a lot together in the last few weeks. We went to India together, and Leah ended up we were both on stage, and we ended up speaking to over 700,000 people live. So it was like the opposite of the pandemic. And it really got us out of that pandemic phase into this amazing opportunity. And so one of the goals of that was to build the speaker wheel, right? So we have a lot of authors that want to be speakers as well. So this is a great opportunity to start getting more gigs, and, speaking to that many people is going to enhance a speaker wheel. So if some people write a book to become a speaker or to build a speaker platform, and that's certainly something that Leah's been working on. So Leah, tell us a little bit about your background, where you're calling in from today. I know a little bit about your story, but I know I want to share that with our viewers today.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm calling in from Canada. I wrote my first book in January this year. And just before we left for India, I think sometimes when we take a big, uncomfortable yes action, it opens up something in our minds, in our hearts. And that happened to me just a couple weeks before we left. And I had this seed of an idea that just blossomed, and it became an obsessive endeavor to try and get it done before we left for India. I didn't have the why, the reason, but I just knew I wanted to get it done before I got there. And what it was is this book here, is Remember When. And this idea sparked from, I do Toastmaster meetings. I'm part of a group there. And we were celebrating our first meeting in person. And it was like things like, remember when we used to shake hands, or remember when we met every week? Like, it was just funny stuff. But the seed that this grew into was more about my grandmother's journey through dementia and Alzheimer's. We lost my mother-in-law about 6 years ago now to the same thing. And it was just, I didn't realize when I was going through it with my mother-in-law, she would tell me all these stories and I found them fascinating, but I didn't realize she was going through her early memories. She was regressing through those memories, and how I never took time to take those down. And I have vague memories of them now. And I've written them what I can remember now, but with my grandmother's past progressing through dementia and Alzheimer's, is I'm taking more time to understand those stories while she still can tell them, because you might think you've heard them 100 times, but did you really sit and listen to them? Did you really sit there and try to understand where she's thinking, where she's going with that? And so that's the inspiration for this book. And I just want, once they're gone, their whole stories, all their experiences, all that is gone forever. And there's no way of getting that back. So
that is so beautiful. And I've seen that in my own life, where as a kid, we're kind of into our own kid world, and we're not paying attention to the adults as much. And like, we don't think about their stories, and they try to tell us stories and we roll our eyes and like, okay, grandpa's got another war story or whatever. We've heard it a million times. But I know that I didn't really get to know my grandparents that much. And my dad's parents died when I was younger, I like 7 or 8. So I really didn't get to know them as people as much as my other grandparents that lived to be 92 and 97. And when my grandfather, he had 3 different cancers. And I think that was the gift of cancer in some way, of knowing he didn't want to fight anymore. At 92, he was like, I'm done. And I flew out there to Houston, where they lived well, near Houston in Texas. And I was determined to interview him. And I had all these questions. This was many years ago. And I was so grateful to have that opportunity to sit down and really ask him all the questions I wanted to ask. I learned so much about this man that I never knew. Is a whole different side of him that I saw why my grandmother fell in love with him. Right. And it's so cute to see them interact. Like at one point he was doing something in the kitchen, and she walked by and grabbed his butt, and they were the cutest thing at 92. It just cracked me up. They were so cute. And they'd known each other since they were 12, and I just thought, that's got to be amazing to have your best friend for 70 years and think of losing them. Like, that's gut wrenching for my grandmother. So I interviewed both of them. I put it together in a little book and gave it to my mom. And it was like one of my most favorite treasured things. And this is what I love so much about your book. Is I also, just this past weekend, was at a wedding in Texas with my family, and I gave your book and a journal to my own mother, right? My mom is struggling, like she's just getting to this age where she's forgetting things, and she's like, I have to write everything down. And I said, well, I've got the perfect solution. And so she sent me this text, and I just have to share it with all of y'all, and I'm sure she wouldn't mind me sharing because it was so beautiful. She said, sorry, I got to find it. Oh my goodness, I have way more text than I thought. She said, I just finished reading the book that you brought me, Remember When. It's a thoroughly delightful book, very well done. And yes, it inspired me to remember more memories. So thank you. And what we did is, she had these memories, and then there's a journal that you can buy as a separate piece to this. Right. And people can jot down their memories in the journal. That way their friends and family can see that physical thing, because so many times today we have diaries and personal journals that are locked inside Google Docs or Microsoft Word with a computer password. And so that doesn't mean other people will ever get to see our journals or our stories. Right. And some people may not want to, but
Yeah.
I have a lot of my family history through their journals and get to see their inner dialogue. So this is so critical. So tell us a little bit more about, how can people use this to remember certain things? And it's such a beautiful book. It's so well done.
Well, thank you, Melanie. I appreciate that. So I took this book and I just put through questions throughout it. Like, do you remember when woe came before ill? Like, when we used to love getting in the dirt and looking for bugs, or like when we'd bend down and like be so curious about life. It's about connecting across generations. It's about, the common truths that we all pass through in the different stages of our lives. I think sometimes through when people are changing, it's hard to find that connection. What do we talk about? You can take a place like, remember when you tried to scream and you were scared? Like, you ever have that moment, you wake up in the night, you had a nightmare and you're trying to scream, but nothing comes out. What story can come out of that? I'm sure they had that experience at some point. What were you scared of as a kid? About your siblings. Did you get along? What was your favorite thing to do? And just really use it as a place to generate those stories and laugh. Like, there's one, everyone always loves this one. Oh, about running away. That's one of my favorite ones, because I've had 3 kids that threatened to run away. And that one makes my mom laugh, because she packed her bags and she was going to go to her grandpa's house. And, we've all had those moments, and it's sharing that commonality. And yes, you can definitely write it in a journal. You can record it as those stories are coming up. I always tend to gravitate towards writing, just because I express myself better there, and it's so good for your brain and mental fitness. So that's why I made the journal to go with it. And maybe it's a place where you can record how you're personally feeling or your memories. It's really open to be used however you want. In the journal, there are, if you want to expand on those questions, there are a bunch of questions you can expand on, to just start getting those memories. Because I mean, how do you feel when you start remembering that? Like, I see people light up. I was showing my husband the baking page, and he remembered a time that he baked butter tarts with his mom, and it brought a smile to his face. He had forgotten that he did that with her, and she's been gone 6 years now, and it was just a nice memory for him. So that's what I really want with this book, is just to bring up those memories, to remember how much life that we've lived, and how much we've grown, and how we connect as a family, and how to inspire our next generation. I don't think we're so much in our phones now, and so busy, so busy, so busy. We don't have those times where we just sit and do nothing and chat and laugh and take time to remember when. So that's my hope with this book.
That is so true. Very well said. And I think that sometimes it does. And here's the thing that just came to me is, there are good triggers and bad triggers, but we always think of trigger as a negative word. Like, you trigger something that brings back an old trauma or something bad. But this is a beautiful thing, because this challenges your brain to trigger good memories and beautiful things that have happened. And even if there's pain along the way, it encourages you to remember the good memories. And I don't know about you, but I've kept a diary since I was 15, a journal. And I could remember certain relationships. Like, I ran into an ex-boyfriend after like 30 years. And I was like, what? Oh, I really like that guy. I wonder why. I can't remember why we broke up. And then I went back and read my journal and went, okay, now I remember exactly why, and I tended to, I was kind of blocking out the negative stuff and remembering the good times. I think our brains kind of do that sometimes to protect our heart and protect our emotional well-being. So, what advice do you give to people if they have these memories and it brings up something negative or something traumatic? How can they kind of walk themselves down from that proverbial ledge of, like, trauma, or getting overwhelmed with negative feelings from the memories?
I think my biggest advice for that is, what lens are you looking at that through? A lot of what I wrote in my first book was, I had been stuck in the lens of looking at my life through the eyes of a child. And that shift of, now I'm an adult, I've had life kick me in the butt, and I know what it means to be human and make mistakes. And so, really, again, I always tend to go to writing, because sometimes in our writing, when we're just stream of conscious, letting it all out, and you can burn it after if that makes you feel better, like, but you can write it all out, get it out, and then, really challenge, is that true? If I could change, can I shift my perspective? Maybe there was if I zoomed out, what does that look like? And try to understand it from a different way, and really try and get the lesson out of it. I mean, another thing with this book is, you can have the same situation happen to several different peoples, and maybe it's not a trauma thing, but the same situation can happen to several people, and they see something happen, and you get different perspectives. It can open up a conversation that you haven't known how to open up, and be a great starting point.
I love that. It's a great point, and how it is, like, for a family, for example, can go back and have a memory, and one person can have a positive memory and another person can have a negative memory from the same circumstance, and they may not even know about it. And so sometimes I think it could even open up the dialogue in a healthy way to have those discussions. I know that when I was back this weekend with my family, or this past weekend, it was really just, we all really seemed to appreciate being in person more now that the pandemic, we kind of took it for granted, because we've always had a big family and we always have big get-togethers. But we, the things that had to be put off because of this pandemic, and to be able to be sitting there with literally every family member that's living pretty much in one room to celebrate a beautiful thing. And I thought, we could be here for a wedding, or we could be here for a funeral, and we're celebrating no matter what this person's life and what it's going to become, right?
Yeah.
And that's the thing, like all those that book at that time was so special because it triggered a lot of memories that we all were talking about. And so it was something that we shared. And it's like I think it could even be used. Ideally, it would be used for people that are suffering with memory loss, that you want to capture those stories before they disappear, right? You don't want to forget those for your family, but also for newlyweds, right? For people that are adults, for high school graduation gift, because they're trying to be an adult, but they're still trying to hold on to their childhood a little bit, and they don't want to lose the childlike qualities and the fun parts of being a kid as they transition into adulthood. So I think it could be a really fun book for kids that, for high school graduation as well. So there's a lot of different uses for this book that are going to trigger great memories for people of multiple generations. It's a great gift for Christmas, great gift for like parents, grandparents, or like I said, young adults leaving for college, because it really does bring back so many beautiful memories. And when I was reading through it, I started getting lost in some of those memories, and it made me go back and start journaling about some of those things and processing the happy things. And so I definitely recommend it for any of you guys. Like I said, I personally have bought the book and have seen it work firsthand in my own family. And what a beautiful opportunity that was. So, Leah, is there anything else that you want to share? I know that you have a special offer today. Do you have a special pricing on your book? Is it your ebook, print book? Do you have links you want to put in the chat? All that good stuff.
Yeah, it won't let me put them in the chat, but there is a companion journal that goes with it if you want to keep it matching. But I also offer to make your personalized book. So we would have a meeting together, and I'd give you some questions and prompts and share them in a story, and I could put a remember when custom book together for you. And I love doing video. Yeah, and I feel like sometimes we have these special legacy type of videos, at weddings or funerals, but what about all the times in between? And I just thought it's a great way to make your own remember when compilation. So those are my.
That is awesome. I love that. Because I was thinking about that, and right now I'm doing I'm always involved in some type of personal development program. I really believe in personal growth and business growth, right? And I'm doing a life book program where we're, evaluating our life in different categories and idealizing, okay, this is where I'm at in this category. This is where I want to be. If there's areas I want to improve, and then you build this vision and you print it all out and you create your own little life book for it. And you look at it every day, and it's a very personal thing. So I was thinking about this when I was reading yours too. I was thinking, how cool would it be to customize those memories and create that for somebody? So I love that you're doing that. And I also was thinking, I think the thing is we forget how much joy we really have and how these little things bring so much joy. And so many of us are struggling to find happiness and joy, and we think that it's absent from our lives, but it's actually there. We're just forgetting about it. And just like you have a gratitude journal, when you have a gratitude journal and you focus on gratitude, you get blessed with, amazing things, gratitude. And I think that's the thing. This is just a way to create joy and remember the joyful things in your life. So it's a great tool for that, for sure. And then you've got the workbook. So we put the link in the website there. So you can click on that and get a copy of her book. You can also find it where books are sold as well. But I definitely love what you're doing. I'm so happy and so proud of you. Like, this was just amazing to watch your own transformation, Leah. This download, I mean, you literally downloaded this book in less than 2 weeks. You had it done, this beautiful design and format. You did all of this work yourself. What was that like? I mean, now that you've written a book the first time, you kind of got the, I don't know what to do is out of the way. How was this process for the second book different for you?
It was very much creative flow. And I knew how I wanted to structure it. And because I had that, I had who I wanted to write the book for, because the biggest thing I've learned from you, Melanie, is it's not about the book that you want to write. It's a book that other people need from you, like that people want to read. And so I wanted this to be a joyful experience, and it was an emotional experience. Like every photo I picked, every line that I wrote, it was a journey that I went on. And I have to give a shout out to AJ from our group too. She helped me with the editing part, and she was like in the sticks with me, because she helped me just format things so it flowed better, and it was just a beautiful collaboration there at the end. But yeah, I remember just so wanting to have it printed, and Amazon can be kind of funny about that sometimes and take a long time to approve. And I gave up on it at one point because the file was too big. I was having trouble. It wouldn't upload. And then I'm like, you know what? It's not going to happen. I won't have it before India, whatever. And then by the grace of God, on Monday, it uploaded and it was approved within 24 hours. I was like, what? And I had it the day before we left for India. I was like, oh my God. So it was definitely.
And the same thing happened with your visa. Like you're in Canada,
Yes.
and you were trying to get your visa, and you were like, but this is the beauty, and this is the message for all of you. When you made the commitment, I am going to India no matter what, and you traveled 5 hours, and you had to stand in line, and you had to spend extra weeks trying to make that happen. You did everything you humanly could do, and then you had to just give it up, surrender it, and that's when it happened. And the same thing with your book, and trying to push it and make it happen. And then you finally say, okay, I'm just grateful that it's done. And if it happens, it happens. And that's when it happens. And so many times I find that people don't fully commit, or they just keep trying to force it. The opposite. They just keep forcing things too much, and they don't just let things happen. And it's the hardest thing to know when to keep pushing and when to give up, and I think when people are going through this journey of trying to extract their knowledge and write a book, it's so easy to give up because there's so many excuses and there's so many reasons to not do it. But this is what I want to say. Like, I think about how all the people would be affected if you hadn't written your books, right? Like my mom, my weekend with my family would have been very different if we didn't have your book. I can honestly say that. And it warms my heart to think about that. It almost makes me want to cry because we created new memories that are joyful, that we can think back and reflect on, that all of us can think back and reflect on because of that book. That we were consciously living in the moment of creating new joyful memories together. And it made us think about it and be present with that. And so just that was like 40, 50 people just in our family. I think of all the people that would not have been impacted by your first book that was life-changing, and that there are people out there who need this information, and it could be life or death for some people where they're really struggling emotionally. And like, this is something that's such a good, beautiful thing for people. And I think how sad would it be if it wasn't out there in the world, if you had given up, right? So thank you for doing that and for your courage. It's not easy putting your babies out there and having other people judge them or critique them or review them. And it's very personal. But it's worth all the effort. That's all I can say. And I don't know if you have any advice to other people that are out there that are thinking about writing a book, or they've looked in the mirror and said, I should write a book someday, but then they kind of just think about it and don't do anything. What advice would you give to people who are in that stage right now?
I think my biggest advice would be get accountability. I had my first book for probably 5-6 years before, I burnt it a few times and I just couldn't bring myself to finish it. But having the accountability of the author group has really helped me. I couldn't make excuses because people had done what I wanted to do, and I had some structure. I had, a system to follow, and that really helped me move forward. And they always say, think of how you're going to feel. Like when you don't want to work out, you think of how you're going to feel after the workout, and imagine the freedom of mind and body and soul that you're going to have when that book is out of you, because it just opens up a whole new world of possibility. And I remember you saying just before my first book launch, like it's going to be a transformation. I'm like, no, wait, blah, 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 all in my head, but it truly was. And I'm not the same person when I first met you, Melanie, as I am now. And it's a whole new confidence when you can get that book baby out.
Oh, I love that. And I can attest. I mean, I have watched your transformation and it has been such a joy because you've worked so hard. You've done everything that we gave you, like every single task, every challenge we gave you, you just faced it head on and you did it. You powered through it. And, the people that commit and go through and do everything have the best outcome and the best results. I mean, we have authors that have an 8-figure business right now, or they've sold 10,000 books, So it can be done. There are lots of other people doing it. And the beauty is if you guys are out there and you want to write a book, I would encourage you to go to our website, mydefiningmoments.com, fill out a quick application, tell us a little bit about your book, and we can hop on a call with you. You can get on a call with one of our mentors, someone like Leah or other people at our company that can walk you through that process and understand exactly where you are because they've been there. They know exactly what you need to do, and they can give you this map and at least give you some guidance into the next steps. It's a free call. We just love helping people get over that hump. And we've got a lot of free training and things like that we can send to you as well. But we just want to help you if this is your goal and your dream, or you want to grow your business with a book, get more clients, build a speaker platform, things like that. These are all the things that we can really help you do. And especially when it comes to media, podcasts, and things like that, because there's so many different ways to get your book out there. So Leah, thank you so much for joining us today. I'm really grateful that you could be here and spend the time. It's so great to see your lovely face again. And congratulations. Is there anything else you want to share with our readers?
No, I just want you to take time to remember when and sit back in what you've already come through.
I love it. I love it. It's so, so beautiful. Thank you so much for being here today. I am sorry. I'm trying to do multitasking things here and I'm so bad at it because I'm blonde and I'm not a millennial. Okay. So what I'm going to do now, we're going to say farewell to Leah and good luck and thank you. And please pick up a copy of her book today. You have the ebook and print book available, correct?
Yes.
We froze up. Okay, perfect. So take a chance and, take a look at the books today, get your copy and please leave an honest review. I know that will help Leah as well. And congratulations, Leah and Anissa, on your book launches. We're so excited for you and so proud of you and can't wait to see where you go with it. Thank you for being here today so much. Okay, now, one of the other things we want to do is also, I'm going to put in the chat, if you are interested in writing a book and maybe you don't want to write a book, yourself, like maybe you just want to write a portion of a book, right? We have a couple of books, like my first book called Defining Moments, Coping with the Loss of a Child. There's another Defining Moments book called SOS, Stories of Survival. We're working on our next anthology book, and it is called Angels Among Us. And this is a story about angels and angel encounters because we've had so many amazing stories that have just given us goosebumps that are really inspiring. I think the world needs a lot of hope today. I put a link in the chat where you can get more information about this book. And one of the benefits of partnering with us, if you don't want to write your whole book, but you have a story that you want to share and get out in the world, then you can share a story in our book, be part of the compilation. You get 50 copies of the book that you can resell or give away, however you want to handle that. And at the same time, you get to become a #1 best-selling author because we're going to market this book all over the world in 87 countries. So people will see your story. And so it's a really great way to get your story out there. If you're not ready to write a full book, maybe you just have a short story that is going to be perfect to collaborate with us, where we have space. We have a few more spaces open. We have about 5 more spaces open to finish that book up. And it's going to be launching on 12/12, right? So in about a month. So we've got to finish it in the next few weeks. And we can literally help you write your story, edit it. We put it in the book. We do all the work. All you have to do is go do whatever you want to do with your own books. and then help support the launch. I would love for you guys to be a part of that. If you know somebody that has an incredible story or an angel encounter, we would love to share that. I think that giving somebody the gift of hope is the greatest gift you can ever give anyone. So that link is here below. Please click there. If you're interested, you can also reach out for more information. We can hop on a quick call with you and explain that as well. And you can reach out to us at melanie@mydefiningmoments.com. See if I can type and talk at the same time. Yes, I can. So please reach out to us if you're interested. I have one more book that's launching today. This one is very special. This one is basically my dad, who has been a Sunday school teacher for over 50 years. And he's 86 years young. This was his first book that he wrote, right? Bible study lessons, 3 months of lessons complete with biblical research, stories, and discussion. It's a weekly planner for church leaders. Now, before he wrote this book, my dad's been an attorney for 60 years. He has taught Little League Baseball. He's coached for 50 years. And we talked about his whole life, all he's ever wanted was to write a book. And here's the irony. When I was 15, I mentioned earlier in the show, he grounded me for, I think I took the family car without permission and I wasn't quite old enough to drive. I was 15 going on 80, right? And so I got grounded and my punishment was to read self-improvement books. And the funny thing is all my life, my dad wanted to be a published author and so did I. And we both didn't really know what to do. And then I ended up writing my first book. It took me many years. It's a long story. I learned things the hard way, the expensive way. It took me 15 years and over $100,000 to figure all this stuff out, to learn how to self-publish it. And then I created this whole resource and community of other people to help authors because I hated the fact that traditional publishers were literally robbing people and taking 90% of their hard work and still expecting them to do all the work of write the book, market the book, do the book tours, do the book launches, and then still take 90%. I just hated that. It didn't feel right to me. There are also a lot of people that really shot down authors and didn't give them hope for their story. And there's a lot of amazing books out there that have done very, very well that did not have a traditional publisher. So we wanted to demystify that process. So it was one of the greatest joys of my life to be able to help my dad reach his dream. And during COVID, when his Sunday school class shut down, he was so upset because that brought him so much joy. And so he was researching anywhere from 5 to 7 hours a week as an attorney, these biblical stories and Bible references, and then putting, the scriptures and everything in there, and then coming up with modern day stories that could become a point of discussion about that lesson. So he's helping to save people several hours a week. The other thing we did is we researched and found that 14,000 people every single month are searching for this type of book. And we knew that if he just got it out there and we used the right keywords, the right categories, we had the right title, we had a good book design, all of these things, that people would find it. And I'm so excited to tell you that after this book came out, it was a #1 bestseller. So he is a #1 bestselling author. Then he launched volume 2. And today he's launching volume 3. So wait, here's volume 3. So the beautiful thing is he has 4 volumes. He has a whole year of Bible study lessons, and he has been making several $1,000s a month in sales with no marketing, no advertising, no social media. He's 86 years young, right? And he doesn't know much about the online community, but he wrote the book that people want to read. And he did everything that we taught him to do. And he did the hardest part was he took this Zoom Bible study and he literally transcribed it and made it his book, right? So some of you have a signature speech. Some of you may have a workshop or a webinar, or you may have a podcast, but that you could turn your podcast into a book. There's so many great ways that you can get your information that's out there and put it into a format that other people will find value and will pay for. So this is why we love working with people and showing them how to do this. And so I'm happy to say that his books have been passively creating income for him. And he donates 100% of everything he makes back to his church. This church is the same church he's been at for over 50 years. It's the church where I was baptized. My kids were baptized, where I grew up. And it's an amazing journey to watch how he wanted this to be his legacy. And in less than 3 weeks, we have 42 people that we are going to hop on a plane and go to Israel, right? We're doing this incredible Bethlehem Christmas adventure. And these are the types of opportunities that we love to produce and to create and curate for people. So that trip came because I wanted my dad to go to Israel. And we put it together. We have an incredible guide. He's one of the most famous archaeologists in all of Israel. His name is Eli Shukron. And it is exciting that we're going to be able to go and take 42 people to go experience Israel. And imagine going with 2 ministers and a Bible study teacher for 50 years and going to the Holy Land. Like, just, it's such an incredible, amazing experience. This is what I want for all of you. I want you to have those kind of life experiences. I want you to be able to take your mess and turn it into your message, or to take it and turn it into a mission or a movement that's going to make a difference for other people. This is what we want to help you do. So if you're interested in getting his books, his volume 3 launched today, and volume 4 is coming soon. He's determined to have all these 4 books out within a year. So at 86 years young, he's had 4 books written in the last year, and he's actually working on his 5th book, which is about baseball. So he led with his passions, not just his profession. He could have easily written a book about being an attorney and help young attorneys just coming into the marketplace. And he mentors a lot of young attorneys. And I still think he's got a great book in him that he can share a lot of knowledge about being an incredible attorney as well. But he started with his passions, right? So you could start with your hobby, you could start with your passion, whatever's going to help you finish it first, that's going to really drive you. And this is becoming a legacy for him. And this book is creating passive residual income for the rest of his life and beyond. And he's setting it up to be able to donate it to his church even after he leaves this planet, right? It's pretty amazing to be known for that, having that kind of legacy. And that was his goal. And it was wonderful and joyful for us to be able to help facilitate that. It was very personal, as you can imagine, but all the things that have come from him launching this book and the opportunities that have come have been really incredible to watch. And he's so pumped when he gets emails from these Bible study classes, because this way it's a workbook style. They can all get a copy, and then they basically can write, inside of it, put their notes in there, track everything. It's all referenced, and it's just made life easier for people who want to start a small group study. Anyway, so I just wanted to share that. He couldn't be here with us today. I think he's actually in court today. We joke that he's going to live long enough to do his own probate because he loves being an attorney. And that is also his passion and profession. And he's very, very good at it. As you can imagine, he's been practicing a long time. And we joke that if he keeps practicing as an attorney, someday he'll be good at it. So his book, I'm going to put in the chat as well. It is also in the main chat on this page. You can scroll up and see all of the books and the links there. And you can see them on our website as well. So you can see his book. I'm going to put the chat in here. This is for volume 3, but you can actually go back and start with volume 1. And that's what I recommend. Start with volume 1. Now, you can do this as an individual if you just want to experience your own relationship with God and you want to learn more about that opportunity. Then you can do this on your own like a journal. You can do it for yourself. You can do a small group study in your home. You could do a small group study or a large group study at your church. You could do it online like he did, where everybody in the group all over the world can get a copy of the book, and they can all log in once a week and do their own Bible study lesson. We've actually had people in one family that bonded together that got volume 1. And, she was with somebody who wasn't a believer. Her stepmom was a Buddhist. Her grandmother was a Christian. And it brought their whole family together to do Bible study together. And it was a beautiful thing to hear about their progress. And that was something that really lit my dad up when he heard about how excited people were to dive into these books and how it was really helping them get to know the Word of God. So if you're somebody that wants to know more about that, and maybe you're of the Christian faith, or you're in a church, or you just want to start a small group, but you're intimidated by that process, this is why he created the book for you. So take advantage of it today while you can get it at the discounted prices. The ebook is 99 cents. The print book is only $9.95. So those are special prices for today only in the launch. Enjoy. And thank you guys so much for being here with us today. We're so grateful. Don't forget to subscribe below for our YouTube channel. And we will be able to remind you when we go live every week. And at the same time, don't forget to check out our website, mydefiningmoments.com. If you want help writing your own book, or if you want to look at some of our other books that we have published and helped other people publish, then we would love to talk with you further. So thank you again today for being here, everyone. I really appreciate you. Congratulations to Anissa, to Leah, and to John. Just amazing job that you guys have done. So proud of all of you. Thank you for getting your book babies out in the world. I know there are people that really, really will appreciate it, and it is going to transform a lot of people. So thank you again, everybody, for being here. We love you, and we'll see you next time. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye-bye.